Hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming, and hello to the folks in Indianapolis. So you all have Abhinav here to thank for me being up here, as he suggested that I do this kind of seminar, maybe about a year ago. So what we're going to talk about today are some tools that make your writing life a lot easier. So let's see. Do I need to talk about myself any, Robert? Okay. Hi, my name's Winona, by the way. I'm the manager of the Collaboration and Engagement Support Group in Research Technologies. I have a PhD in Integrative Neuroscience, and I was a research associate for 8 or 9 years. So I've written a number of papers and a number of grants. And over the years, I've learned a lot about the tools of the trade, and the good news is everything's a lot easier these days. So, all right, where to begin? So I suppose everybody in here is familiar and has used Microsoft Word, correct? Okay, yes, so that's like the main tool of the trade. So people who aren't used in the computer science discipline tend to use Word to submit papers, and then the journals do all the heavy lifting in terms of formatting and getting it into shape. However, we here in RT in the Pervasive Technology Institute submit a lot of papers via LaTeX, and there is a really lovely editor called Overleaf that we've now adopted, and we're trying to help everybody else here use that tool because it makes everything a lot easier. Okay, but first we'll start with Word because that's the main tool everybody's familiar with. So who in the room has gotten an account on Overleaf and Mendeley? Half and half, you've got right. We had some problems apparently getting an account on Mendeley, and I'm not tech support for them, so I'm really sorry, I just can't help you out in that regard. But once you do get an account, the main way that an individual researcher writer interacts with Mendeley is through the desktop kind of version, which I have open right now. So this is my version. I have quite a lot of papers, references that go in there. And we will get to how to get references in there in the first place in just a minute, but it's all fairly straightforward. But in Word, you should be very familiar with this. There's a downloadable plugin from Mendeley, which functions with Word. And you just have to have, it will show up in the toolbars here. So I have mine already clicked open here. So my Mendeley toolbar is active. You can see it up here at the top of the screen. So essentially I'll give you the basic overview. I'm writing my paper. I am citing myself. Now I'd like to go ahead and insert a citation. Okay, it's fairly easy. Typically the form is you put the citation at the end of the sentence. Go up to your toolbar, insert or edit citation. Okay, this is, then a little window pops up. And if you happen to have an easily searchable name that you're looking for, this thing is pretty great. Otherwise, you can go to your actual Mendeley desktop application, but I'll search myself, which is pretty easy. Snapp-Childs. Okay, so a number of things show up, and this is what it is tagging as me being the author. It's not the full set, but presumably I can find something that I'm after, and all you have to do is say okay, and now there's a reference in there. That's nice. Okay, so, whoops, forgive my misspellings here. Okay, so I'd like to add another reference. So I do the same procedure, go to insert or edit citation. I'll look for somebody else this time. And presumably I find the thing that I'm looking for. And you can see here, I've chosen one. You can add multiple references. This is frequently what people do, multiple references at the end. That's okay. So I can look for another one. Okay, you add it in. Good. You rinse and repeat till you're done writing your paper. And then there's a handy little button in the toolbar that says Insert Bibliography. And you can put this on a different page. So it shows up like you're expecting it. And then, okay, that's wonderful. All right, so what frequently happens is you're writing along and you say, oh, okay, well, I'm used to using IEEE format, but this journal requires some other kind of format. Oh, geez, what am I going to do? Do I really have to rearrange all of my references to match its style? No, you don't. In your nice little toolbar here, you get a selection of reference styles. So there's only, I think, 8 or 9 listed here. But Mendeley has a list of over 2,000 or so reference styles. So likely there's something that you are looking for. And so you would just search through the gigantic list of reference styles and select the one that you're looking for. There is a custom reference style editor that you can use if it's a very super specialty kind of thing. However, most of the standard ones are in here and you likely won't need to do that. Okay, all right, so I've been operating right now in Vancouver, but I'd like to really go back to APA, I think. So all you have to do is change the format and then, like magic, now all the references are put in the order which you put them, and the format has changed and you really didn't have to do much work at all. Yay, okay, that's great. Okay, so now all of that presupposes, is everybody with me so far? Okay, good. All right, so now that all presupposes that you have some references to begin with in the first place. But frequently, you're missing 1 or 2 things. Mendeley is there's a desktop version and there is a web-based version. When you're looking for something, let's go to our good friend Google Scholar. That's one of the databases that I like to use. And generally, I know sort of what I'm looking for, either by topic or by author. Anybody want to give me something to search for? Whoa, ribosomes. Ribosome structure and function, what do you think? Structure and function, perfect. Okay, so Carrie, are you looking for anything in particular? You like this one that's been cited 400 times? Is that one good? Let's say yes. This looks like to be a good paper that I would like to include in my manuscript. And okay, so we go click on it. Our nice friend Google Scholar. That's perfect. Okay, so again, Mendeley. So Mendeley has the ability to save references from a web page, and I think I have 2 little buttons on my web browser, and that might just be because I have been using Mendeley for long enough that they've changed the name. But generally, all you have to do is click on the Save to Mendeley button, and then I'm logged in already. That's a key thing. Got to be logged in your web browser. Okay, let's see, where do I want to put this? Okay, so it saved the PDF and the reference. This is doing this online. Okay, so you can rinse and repeat for whatever it is you're looking for. And then in order to get it into your desktop version, you have to go press the little sync button up here on the top. This takes a little while, just depending on how many references you have in your list. Okay, And so in my all documents file in my library, you can see this brand new reference that was just added at 1:12 p.m. That would be just 2 minutes ago. Perfect, yay, so now I can use it. Okay, so if we go back to our paper, likes ribosomes. In this case, well, I don't really remember my paper, so I'm going to have to go back to my database. And oh, look, since it was the last thing I added in, it's right there at the top. And you just have to go up to the top where it says Site. And yay, it's in there. Ah, okay, so now we have something funny. What's this? So given that it's an APA style, which has the year associated in the inline citation, I can see an ND, which stands for no date. Okay, this paper is not a thing that doesn't have a date. So we know that we need to make some corrections. All right. So we can either do this online in our Mendeley we've logged into, or we can do it in our desktop. I always prefer the desktop just because I like the way the interface is. Okay, so let's see. We can go back to the document, and I think we can see why does it have a date on the top? 1968, right. So some of these older PDFs won't necessarily have all the metadata in there. All the modern stuff from, call it even 2000 and forward should have all of the metadata associated with PDF. Older stuff, apparently not so much. Okay, so 1968. All right, that's great. So go back. 1968. Okay, the journal is at the top. It's what is that, a journal at all? Communicated by somebody. Is that a real? Ah, okay. Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. Okay. Oops. Volume. That's correct. Oops. You don't want that. Does anybody see a volume number? 59. Perfect. Okay. All right. So the issues in the pages the issue is not always common. Let's see, go back to pages. The other place, so if you're doing this in Google, you can always go back and you can click on the Site button and see what it has to say. Okay. So that's issue 3, and here's the page numbers, which we can copy out. You can also just go ahead and download this in a BibTeX form on your desktop and plop it straight into the editor. Okay, so we've made our edits. And then sync that dude up. Okay, I hit my refresh button on the toolbar. Yay, now we have a date. Perfect. Okay, those are pretty much the most common kinds of things that you'll come across. Largely, okay, so let's try another one. All right, so we added that paper, and let's go to the next cited one. That one is from 79, so we might be running across some of the same issues, but let's go ahead and say, well, we don't want the PDF of that. I just want to be able to cite it. Okay. So we can copy this out, these tags here. We can save this as a .bib file on our desktop and simply plop it in. The other handy thing to do, this one gives us a PDF. can save this to my computer. Let's say you like to hoard PDFs on your machine. I know I do. So I can go back and read it later or just have access to it whenever I want. Okay, so I saved it and say, well, okay, I forgot about that trick about saving the Mendeley or online, or I don't trust it or something. Well, you can simply just go to your wherever your location is and grab the PDF and plop it in. Okay, so now you can see some of the, again, if all the metadata aren't filled out correctly or tagged on the PDF, then you get some missing kind of information, the structure, and so we know we need to fix the title. Okay. Function. Okay. And then, all right, so let's say, yes, I want to cite that paper too. So I go back to my Word, and I want to cite it where I'm talking about Carey liking ribosomes. So you go back up to your Insert Edit Citation button in your toolbar. And I don't remember who the author of this is, so I'm going to Mendeley Desktop. Oh, there it is, because I just added it. Whoops, it didn't work. Okay, that's fine. Tong. So again, these are just common problems that people come across. So now I know the author, and I press OK, and it will automatically add in the additional references. And then they will be added automatically to your bibliography. You do not have to insert your bibliography at the beginning. You can just wait till the end. I like it just there as kind of a sanity check and make sure that if I can catch any of these errors, like dates missing and stuff like that, early on. And okay, so that's Word. All right. And any questions so far? Well, all right. Nope. No questions from the peanut gallery. That's fine. Okay, moving on to Overleaf. Okay, so, all right. Overleaf is an online shareable LaTeX editor. We've used this in the very recent past and for a number of reasons. It's collaborative, so you can be editing online. It is not nearly as current as Google Docs, so just to, if you are simultaneously editing with other people, it's a bit pokey, so sometimes you can be editing over each other. And it's not necessarily apparent, like in the same way that Google Docs is, where somebody else is editing. So let me just say that. Okay, so why do I like Overleaf? So first thing, it has a number of templates that is paired up with ACM, for example, or CCPE. They develop these templates so you can basically just go download them into your projects, and then you have the thing to work with. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So for everybody here, ACM is a big one. Oh, whoops, not Mendeley. So all I'm doing is Google search for the template. Okay. So does anybody have a preference about what's that, one column or two? I think this one is the SIG conference proceedings is probably the most common one. Okay. Open that as a template. Now, I am logged into Overleaf already. That's a crucial first step. You have to be logged in online to Mendeley and Overleaf. Okay. I went with the SIG conference one. So it's 2 columns. that it? Right. Let's see. So where to start? So the reason why I like this particular one is it has lots of examples about how to do stuff. So if you need to insert equations, there are specific instructions on how to do that within this template. Same thing for a simple table. There are all kinds of tables. So now all the templates, of course, look a little bit different. This particular template handles your text in two different, we'll call it files. But the basic structure is you either have one file which contains a lot of instructions and an abstract, and then another file where the body of the text goes, or it's all in one .tex file. There is a bib file here. This contains your bibliography, your citations. Okay. The reason why I like Overleaf is because it integrates with Mendeley. So you can just plop in your own bibliography without having to create any bib files. And then over here, you'll see a whole bunch of other stuff. So this is the ACM reference format. You don't largely change that. That's the reference of the template. And then these little things, these JPEGs here are actually pictures which are inserted into the file, or the document itself. Little fly, big fly, flies, flies. Okay. So let's see. All right. What do you want to know first? How to type? Mendeley? Okay. Right. Okay. There's this handy dandy button up here on the upper left-hand corner that says Files. Okay, so this is where you either upload your own PDFs, JPEGs, whatever, so your figures are going to go in there. Also where your bibliography goes. Right, bibliography. Okay, so when you click bibliography, you can go ahead and add in bibliography from your location of these four locations. Since I have Mendeley, we're going to upload from Mendeley. Okay. So now when I operate in Mendeley, I'm either doing everything myself, and my co-authors aren't participating with the references at all, or I'm collaborating heavily. And so when I collaborate heavily, I usually go ahead and create a group within Mendeley so that I can share references. People can put stuff in. I can put stuff in. Everybody has access to it. That's what these groups are here. These are ones that I have created previously. And I'll just go ahead and select it. And then we can go back to Mendeley and just show you how easy it is to create a group. Okay, so the last paper I worked on was this one. This is the name that I chose for some reason. It's big and long and awful. You can change it to whatever you want. And then click Add File. Okay. And then now this is where your references are going to live. So you actually have to change the bibliography in the LaTeX document itself so that it knows to go looking for that bibliography and not the whatever standard one is in here. And where is that? That's usually in the at the bottom somewhere. You can search for bibliography, but it's usually one of the last things. So instead of the sample-bibliography, I change it to Mendeley _Jetstream, whatever terrible thing that is. __ That's a good enough reason to change it to something simple so you can find it. Okay, so now I have access to all of the things which are contained within this group. Okay. All right. So this one is, here we go. This template is a little bit different than some of the other ones that you can download in that they have the text files separated out. A number of them are just one text file we have to deal with. And why you would choose one or the other is, I guess, personal preference. Okay, let's see. I can't find the introduction. Body of the paper, that's section 2. Here we go. Section, there we go. Section introduction, perfect. So if I want to insert a reference anywhere, now I have my list from Mendeley, and all you have to do is type in your LaTeX for cite something, which is conveniently cite, /cite. And then it will give me a list of all of the things that are in my new bibliography. There, I've inserted it. And it takes a little while to render. That's one thing about Overleaf is it's a bit pokey in terms of the rendering. And so you can either, I frequently have it set on to auto preview so it will eventually get there so I can see it. But you can also put it on manual, which means it won't refresh the preview until you tell it to do it. Okay, so that's that. Creating, now let's go back to, you can do Mendeley groups on your web browser or in your desktop. I just like desktop because it's an organization with which I'm familiar and it makes a lot of sense to me. But in any case, so you can see over here on the upper left-hand side that there's in the scroll bar, there's a convenient little place called groups. Okay, so all you have to do is create a group. Okay, and we'll go ahead and call this PTI Seminar. All right, so now here's a little special tip about which type of group should I use. I would suggest that you use an open group. And the reason why is that private groups have limited memberships. So I think you get 3 memberships if it's a private group. So only 3 people can be participating in the group with you, which is again not good if you have 12 co-authors. That's for the free version, yeah. For the pay version, I believe you get unlimited private access, but I know that some people believe that their bibliographies are, intellectual property, and I just really don't mind if the public wants to look at a Mendeley group that I've created. So if you want to use the free version, make sure you check the open group. Now, another word about this, there is no way for you to change back and forth between open and private. You have to download all the BibTeX files and then repopulate a new group, which is a teeny weeny bit of a pain if you want to change the group classification, but not a total deal breaker. Okay, and then immediately you have the option to add people. So Abhinav. Anybody else? Anybody else want to go? Okay, so I'll send you the invites. But you should be able to search within the Mendeley web page. You should be able to search for our PTI Seminar group. Okay. So currently there's nothing in our PTI Seminar group. All right. So let's go ahead and put some stuff in there. We'll be a bit lazy and we'll just copy out some other stuff and say, okay, what do we have from PTI in 2013? Here we go. Okay. So you can simply copy some stuff out and put it in your group. Okay. So now I've been doing this on my desktop. Okay, if I want to share this information, then I do because I've invited people to my groups. You have to hit the sync button. So currently there is nothing, no documents in there. Why not? I haven't hit the sync button yet. So I sync that up. Takes a little bit. Okay, I go here. Of course, you have to refresh. Ah, good. Now I have 19 documents that are populating the group. Perfect. Now let's say I don't want to use that Jetstream in my Mendeley project. So let's go ahead and add the PTI Seminar one. PTI Seminar. Okay. Alrighty. Now I have to go, in order for it to access, I need to change the name of the bibliography. Okay. And let's change my citations. Oh, okay, it's still carrying over the old. Let's refresh. Nope, still got it. So somewhere in there, it's still holding on to my bibliography, my initial bibliography. That make things a little easier. Fresh. Well, all right. So it looks like it's still holding on to, maybe not, this looks new. Okay, let's be adventurous and choose one. Refreshing, and hopefully that will show up. Okay, so now you're asking, all right, well, let's say I'm not completely, I don't have all my references into my Mendeley, but I want, so I need to add stuff in as I'm editing this paper. Okay, so you're going to have to add the things appropriately back into Mendeley, either in the web version or the desktop version, and make sure that they're synced. And then all you simply have to do is go up to your bibliography and click the refresh button, and it adds in the new references. And the way that it currently works is that when you type in for a citation, the new stuff ends up showing up at the bottom here. So it's not in alphabetical order. So these here, right here, are citation keys. And they are, you can see what they are by going back to your desktop version. And it's in part of the details of the reference. So if you forget what it is that, you know, the citation key may or may not match what you think it should match. And so the way you can go back here and check that you've got the right references by looking at the citation key in your desktop version. Okay, any questions? that's how you get references in there. Yes, ma'am. Yep. That function, yeah, that one's a bit dicey. It's always better if you want somebody to actually find the thing, it's best to just invite them. I've had mixed luck in being able to actually find somebody else's group unless they specifically invite me to it. So that would be a best practices to just add the people that you're looking for, and not to rely on their search abilities. So yes, all right. So if you notice, yeah, the web-based version doesn't look in the same way as your desktop version. I feel like it kind of hides some of the details from you, and that's not necessarily what you're after. So again, I prefer to do most of my work on the desktop thing and then use the web version for saving stuff and syncing up with Overleaf. And so yeah, you have to remember to press that sync button anytime you're adding stuff and you want to share it. Press the sync buttons. Okay, let's see. Who are my members? Well, Abhinav accepted, or did you not accept? What's that? Okay. Check your junk folders. And if you are the owner of the group, you have the ability to invite the members. If you aren't the owner of the group, then I don't think you can actually add members unless this might be a feature which they're changing. So who is, Gary, is that you? That's you. Hopefully that'll show up as, it's cool. I invited you. So look, it sent it. Check your junk folder when you get your computer. One thing that I'm not sure about right now is whether it's super picky about at Indiana versus at iu.edu. I think they have, your invitations need to match whatever it is that whatever account it is that you've signed up as. That's another point of failure. No questions? Yes. Yes. So within there, let's see. Okay, so in the same place where it's supposed to work smoothly is right up above the bibliography point. So this particular template handles a lot of the organizational details like the reference style in separate files rather than all in one. So at the bottom of this sigconference.txt file, that's where it's ACM reference format. So if you wanted to change the reference format, then you would need to change it there. But otherwise, basically don't. if you're working with an ACM journal, they're going to expect that you will be using the most current ACM template, which this is. And even though it might not be a thing that you like, it won't be acceptable to them if you do something different. The one place where you can get away with that is in some cases. You see how over here in the document on the second page, it has the author name et al. And sometimes those can get very long, and they will overlap with the title of the conference, especially if the title conference is very long. And so you can go in there and shorten that up. And that's a thing that ACM will accept because they don't like overlapping text like that. So that's the one change we've been able to manage without any complaints. And the best thing, yes. So if you are wanting to insert tables, you'll primarily be wanting to insert tables and graphics / figures of some kind. PDFs go in very nicely. So do PNGs and JPEG.jpgs. The tables you can't insert. You could insert them as a PDF. However, that doesn't allow you to make any changes online. And so Jeremy just got done creating a whole bunch of tables for us, which had lovely white and gray lines rather than just the white table. But this is the table style that ACM is expecting you to use. So it's really just best to use what they have in their template. And the good news is the instructions are quite clear. And you can literally just copy and paste stuff out. Follow the template, and it works pretty easily. Questions, concerns? Want me to do something? Yes, ma'am. No. No. You don't. You type it. Copy and paste. Good question. Okay, so, right. Let's go to the main body, the sample body here. So if you've written this in Word, you're going to end up doing a lot of copying and pasting, and your format's going to be a bit wacky, so you're going to have to do more manipulation. Here we go. So in this one, again, it's handled in separate files. The text starts here at the introduction. That is right here. So you can simply, so some things to watch out for. That's a good point. So if you're copying and pasting from Word, here's some major differences. You have to specify in LaTeX format if there's any special characters. So % signs and double quotes are problematic. They're very easy though. And same thing with bold and italics and bullet list or number lists. So those are things that people like to put in a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice that. Right, I will start. I'm just going to create myself a new section so you can see how to do that. If you want to start a new, this is a level 1 heading section. You simply start typing section, and I'll call it my text. You can see it rendering very slowly. Then you start typing. Okay. Okay, so the good news is if you want something bold, there's some shortcuts to that. And that's under the More feature. Bold, so there it puts it in the right format for you. Okay. And let's see. So the double quotes are problematic. But so for those ones you have to do single, I don't even know what those are called. It's underneath the tilde button on my Mac. 2 single ones like that, and then 2 apostrophes on the end. And that should render over here. Look at this. Okay, come on. If you don't do it like that, you never know which way you're going to get. Sometimes the parentheses will be reversed. Okay. And if you want, again, Mendeley's got, or Overleaf has got some nice bullet list kind of features which are easy to select. Okay. lost it. That should make a list. So there's a number of these. Yes, Carrie? Oh. I'll get there. Yay, list, perfect. So right, those things will not import well from Word. If you're doing, it will just look wacky and you just got to go fix it. But once you're, yeah, so that's a nice little more, it's not very descriptive. That's where a lot of good stuff lives. So bold, same thing for italics, lists, double quotes, anything else here? Oh, percent signs, right. So the way that you comment stuff out is a percent sign. So if you have in there, you're referencing 90% or something, you have to go and you have to put a slash in front of percentage like this. So I'm going to make myself a new paragraph. Okay, so you can see in my new paragraph, I like to talk about numbers, and then you can see over here where I'm typing, it says 90% of the time, but it does not render over here. That's because the percent sign is code for comment this stuff out. So you have to put in backslash. And that identifies a special character. If you have special characters like pound signs, percent signs, whatever, I always just go Google LaTeX, whatever, and then it's in Wikipedia or some other place that has a bunch of these codes. That knowing how to Google stuff makes your life a little bit easier. I think those are the common ones, though. Stack Overflow. Okay. Yeah. Ta-da! Any more questions? So, I purchased 5 professional licenses for Overleaf. We haven't upgraded Mendeley yet, because largely we haven't felt the need just yet. The reason why we purchased the Pro licenses were because it allows for versioning and version control, whereas the free version does not. Occasionally that's super duper helpful. And I think you get a couple more features about the increased shareability or the number of projects. We're not a high volume kind of operation in that we don't do thousands of projects. But if you are an individual who does have thousands of projects needing this, then you definitely want to upgrade to the Pro version. And as it turns out, we just got an email from somebody in the IT community about handling software. So this might be one of the cases where I should just inform them now, since we actually have a mechanism to do this. So there are currently, call it about 300 people on this campus who use Mendeley, and most of them are not using the Pro version for the reason that it costs money. But this may be an instance where we can get give you now the discounted rate, since we've purchased enough to get a group discount. So it's, I think, $42 a year for a Pro license, which is pretty reasonable to save yourself a whole lot of heartache. Like I said, the Mendeley Site claims, so when you go in there and you set up yourself an account, you identify your institution. And the last time that I checked in, they were saying that there were about 300 people on campus that were using, at IU. And so it at some point, the number keeps growing because it's actually such a very good tool for doing such a hard thing. And I anticipate that in the future, the licenses will become cheaper and easier to obtain in an easy way, and maybe we'll even get an institutional one. But now we actually have a formal mechanism to go tell before I had to go to purchasing and say, I want to purchase this software because they're not a vendor in our system. Can I go ahead and just use a P card to buy this and then get approval? Okay, that's all fine, but anybody else who wants to buy it now can get a discount by virtue of us having bought 5 licenses, so that would be good. Yeah, Word is obviously the more common tool. Let's see, if you are working with people who are not using Mendeley, my word of advice to them, and they should put comments in where they want references. If you are the person who's in charge of the references, then you don't want people deleting out your stuff or changing the numbers arbitrarily, and or trying to insert references into the bibliography, which is auto-generated. It's not nearly so bad as what EndNote does, but it's not a good thing to have happen. Any more questions from the peanut gallery?